So what's up guys, it's me Krystle and welcome back to Secrets to Success. Today I'm very excited because we have Meghan Picerno who'll be joining us. She stars as the iconic Christine Daae in the Phantom of the Opera. She also wowed audiences as Christine in the US premiere and first national tour of Love Never Dies. And you also toured in the world tour of the Phantom of the Opera. So much has happened since I last saw you 16 months ago. You completed the world tour of the Phantom of the Opera. I think you went to Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Tel Aviv, Manila, and then you made your Broadway debut on Broadway, and then COVID. So.
And then COVID. I mean, who would, honestly, it was so funny, Krystle. Like, I literally was in Times Square, like on the CNN special, and I was like, wow, this is going to be a great decade. What a great year. And then like 2.5 months later, we were all like, what happened? So it's okay. You know what? Like, we're all going through this together. And if anything, I mean, look, when we reopen on Broadway, and not just Broadway, like, you know, everyone, theaters everywhere, I really think that everyone is going to be so needing to have the live theater and live music again, just as a balm and salve for the soul, because we're going to need art really badly, I think. I mean, like, I got to tell you, I was in New York City for the 3-month lockdown, and like, that was hard. Like, it was kind of a dystopian.
Like, was
it was
everything
hard.
in complete shutdown?
Not like full on, but like pretty close.
Like supermarkets
and like
were open, right? Of course, and
right, supermarkets were open, and I mean, like, we literally didn't, like, I mean, you would go outside for your little like hour jaunt just to kind of like be like, I need to get out of that. I mean, because like, look, New York in general, it's made to go out. Like, people don't stay in their apartments, so you know, it was. But I think it's like Singapore. Like, no, like, but truly like Singapore. So like, it was, I have to say, like, it was, I was really proud of all of us because, you know, as a city, we came together and we, you know, we flattened the curve. So like, here I am now I'm at my parents in North Carolina, and I'm like, come on guys, like, if New York City can do this, we can do this.
We can too.
It's been really interesting and hard and traumatic and beautiful. And, but yeah, I think the other thing, like, truly, like, I mean, Singapore too, we're all going through this together. So it's a common human bond. Yeah. So like, hopefully.
No one saw this coming. No one saw COVID coming. And it was just like, I mean, the impact it's had on, you know, so many industries. It's really quite sad. But, you know, I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, vaccine will be found. Or, I mean, you know, Russia, Oxford, they're doing their trial vaccines, and hopefully, you know, I think once the vaccine is out, the economies around the world should begin to reopen.
Yeah, I think they'll boom because obviously, again, like, everyone's sort of just on like pause right now. And so, not everyone, but a lot of us, our profession and all those that are indirectly related are rather decimated at the moment. And there's not much more that we can do. You know, I mean, like, I teach voice lessons, I coach, I do master classes, and, you know, like, so many of us, but like a lot of like the quote side gigs that a lot of us actors would have, you can't even do, you know, like, you can't be a personal assistant or a waitress or whatever, you know. So it's been challenging, but again, we're in this all together, and so we will get through this.
We will. Since you mentioned, you know, COVID-19 and the impact on Broadway and the theater industry, right? So we know that many industries are hard hit by this pandemic. Aviation, retail, hospitality, tourism, entertainment, and the list goes on. But I guess one of the hardest hit industries by this pandemic is theater. Broadway has completely shut down, at least until January 2021. And, you know, the Phantom of the Opera made its debut on Broadway on the 26th of January 1988, which I think is older than either of us.
True.
And it's been open since then. It's shut down on Broadway, and in the West End, it's completely shut down. So what does this mean for actors, musicians, freelancers, stage staff?
Well, again, like, I mean, it's a combination of things, you know. I mean, one, I do have hope and faith still that we will reopen Phantom on Broadway. Like, we've been told we will. You know, I mean, like, a lot can change. Like, you know, of course, we hope that it's January, but, you know, theater, again, is one of those industries that, like, you need travel, you need people. So, you know, and you know, I think that when we can responsibly be back in the theater, we will. So hopefully it's January, because the sooner the better. But when it's time, it's time. But indeed, you know, I mean, it's very difficult. What's beautiful, like a lot of us can't live without art, right? The ones that are doing this profession. So a lot of us are still creating as in the ways that we can, like whether it's like a virtual concert or it's, you know, recording duets, like, you know, we've all been doing this together. And, you know, a lot of times it's unpaid, sadly, you know, which I wish it was. But at the same time, there's just this need to create. And, you know, there's a lot of campaigns, particularly in the United States. There's a Be an Arts Hero campaign right now. And truly, you know, I mean, I think what's perhaps surprising to people, at least in the United States, theater, the arts, music, etc., bring in $8.7 billion of GDP every year. So actually, the only other area that creates more money is retail. So I think that there's kind of this misconception that artists were not essential. But I mean, for any of you that are watching Netflix, Hulu, listening to music, I have some news for you. That's us. So
yes, like Netflix,
you know,
has subscribers all increased. A lot of tech companies have had more subscribers since the start of COVID, just because people are at home, and you know, that is what you do when you're at home. Even if you can't attend live theater or live concerts, but you watch, like everybody's going virtual now, right?
exactly.
So the arts is
So
very important, regardless of.
it's so important. I think too, like now that indeed, like, please don't quote me, but I believe that Phantom shut down when 9/11 happened, but never like this. Like this, like to this extent, this is historic and hopefully once in a lifetime. So, you know, I think too, we realize that music, the arts in general, is such the fiber of humanity, you know, and suddenly that privilege for all of us and that outlet to escape and feel emotion has been taken away. To an extent, to a major extent. So, and you know, my hope too is that while we're waiting, you know, kind of like brewing for things to reopen, you know, perhaps more advances with virtual concerts, etc., you know, which is great as a substitute as possible. You know, we can kind of figure that out a little bit more and do a little bit more of that kind of performing until we can truly get back into the theater. So,
Yeah, no, it's great what you said. I mean, you know, with technology now and the ability to still conduct meetings and concerts and performances online, we should take advantage of that you know, technology available to us. And it's great to see people like Andrew Lloyd Webber, you know, doing everything that he can to reopen the theaters as soon as possible, right? So 4 days ago, I think he did the Oxford COVID-19 trial vaccine, right? And he said that he'll do anything he can to try and reopen theaters, large or small, as soon as possible.
Yeah, I have to say it's really, you know, it's really wonderful to have like one of our big bosses, like really, you know, he's obviously he's going all out, you know, and like I love how he's engaging, you know, his following, his fans, us. I mean, truly, like it's really a moment of pride for all of us who are part of the PH fam all over the world, because, you know, like he is one of our leaders. And, you know, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to have all the people on top push and work for it and help us, because we're all one symbiotic society of people. So it's really wonderful everything he's doing. So
yeah, no, it sounds good. Like it's a community, right? He treats all of you guys like family, and you know, a lot of people are affected by this, obviously. So you know, by trying to do everything he can to bring back the theater industry, it's saving a lot of jobs, right?
We're hoping. No, I think so. No, I do really feel so. So I mean, like it's, you know, of course, some theaters, some shows sadly have had to close, you know, because of just pure financial reasons. So hopefully, because Phantom indeed is the longest running Broadway show ever, hopefully we'll be okay. So, and I think so. I
fingers crossed.
Hope. Fingers crossed. Well, we will all be back. And like, I got to tell you, Krystle, like that, I think all of us have thought, you can't think too hard on it because like, it's not here yet, but like, you know, it is historic. And like that first rehearsal back, I mean, I know I'm going to be crying the whole time. And then like that first show back, I mean, truly historic and epic. So it's going to be very special when we can and will return. So,
yeah. What do you think it will feel like, you know, the first day that Broadway reopens and all of you come back on stage together, and everyone from the cast, the crew, the lighting, the stage manager, everybody?
I mean, truly, I'm not going to be able to hold it together. I know I will be bawling. I mean, and for a lot of my colleagues that are in Phantom, you know, a lot of them have been there for years, some of them
Yeah.
decades. So this will also be the first time that a lot of them have ever had this pause. So what's actually kind of interesting and wonderful and beautiful is that for the first time ever since Phantom opened on Broadway, we will all be in rehearsal together. We will all
Together.
be doing and reopening together. And truly, that has not happened.
It'll be
Um,
historic.
yeah, it's historic. So
Yeah.
yeah, I try not to think about it too much because then I'm like, oh, it's still too far away. But I do occasionally, I think about it and I like think about that first time we'll all be, you know, like I think I'll sing Think of Me, or I'll, you know, like be able to kiss John on stage and or, you know, Music of the Night with Ben or with Raquel, all of them, everyone. So we really miss our fam really misses each other. Like it
I'm
used
sure
to
you
be
do.
weekly, but now like once a week or once a month we have like a Zoom meeting that Carl, our Pianji, holds, and like, you know, kind of whoever shows up shows up, and so it's we miss
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, but hopefully things will reopen soon. But it's sad with what happened with Phantom in the West End. So Phantom in the West End has been open for many years, and now it's just permanently shut down. I mean, I know, you know, Cameron Mackintosh and Andrew Lloyd Webber says that they are determined to bring it back to London in the future, but for now it's permanently shut down. What are the chances that that could happen to the Phantom of the Opera
I
on Broadway?
mean, oh well, as of now, like we were blatantly told, don't worry, guys.
Okay, good.
So don't worry. We will. Broadway will be back, and like I mean, again, um, I have no stance really to say about West End, except I mean, Andrew just came out
Mm,
with, you know, a video like he's like it's gonna come back. So I'm pretty
that's good.
sure it's gonna come back. So it will be back. But yeah, so we've been told on Broadway like we're coming back. So
That's good. That's
as of
good.
now, that's
Yeah.
what we know, and I will live into that.
Yeah. So what are performers doing during this time? Actors, musicians, stage staff, etc. What are you guys doing during this time to keep afloat?
Well, that's the thing. So it's difficult. I mean, I personally, like I said, I've opened up my vocal studio, and
Okay.
I'm teaching, coaching, you know, whether it's like audition technique, acting through song, or actual vocal technique, because, you know, I mean, I am from the opera world and the Broadway world. And so, you know, the cool thing about being a crossover artist is that I have an understanding of, you know, how can you, if you are from the classical world, like how can you morph into the music theater world? And likewise, honestly, I mean, look, I'm not going to ever be in Hamilton. I will be a raging fan, but like I know my limits. But at the same time, like I know what niche to live in. So, and I,
Yeah.
again, because of my intensive classical background, I have a very good handle of my vocal apparatus and what works for me.
Yeah.
And the team of people that teach me, I then can kind of pay it forward to my students. So that's been actually really cool to meet people through Zoom and teach them.
Yes.
Also, master classes. It's been wonderful to speak to people. You know, Q&As. Again, like it's. I've been really fortunate. I've been actually pretty busy with that. And then, of course, there's all these virtual musical and collaborations. So there's a whole bunch that I have coming out this fall.
Coming back to theaters, right? So what do you think can be done to for theaters to reopen safely? So, you know, Andrew Lloyd Webber, he held like trial performances at the London Palladium Theatre, I think in July. He spent $300,000 on equipment, things like infrared cameras, self-cleaning doors, ventilation enhancements, contactless thermometers, disinfecting fogging machines, to test anti-coronavirus safety measures that could help theatres reopen, right? And it was even said that the quality of the air in the London Palladium Theatre is even purer than the quality of the air outside. And these measures are designed to allow audiences to be able to fill up every seat, because what Webber said was that, you know, if it's not really economically possible for theatres to do social distancing, because with social
Mm.
distancing everyone sits 1 meter apart, and that means that the theatres are only 30 to 40% filled, and that's not very economically viable for theatres to continue running. What do you think of these measures, and what else do you think can be done to reopen theatres safely?
Well, as an actor's perspective, I think there's a few things. One, indeed, having proper cleaning measures in place. I mean, look, Seoul did it correctly. They were able to perform. There was only like a tiny little 2-week period where they shut down, where they literally had, during the height of COVID, were performing. So they did something correct. But it's also not just the theater and the actors, it's the audience members, and also then in general, the people of the city, the country. In America, we need to wear more masks, you know? I mean, like, Seoul, I think part of the culture is it's an honor that I will help you, so I will wear this mask. And I have to tell you, in America, depending on where you are, because we don't have the leadership that's saying, you all need to wear a mask, there's not, I mean, and America's gigantic, you know? So wear a mask, because it shows, it has been proven that this helps, you know? And so like things like doing that, social distancing, indeed, when you are wherever you are, being responsible, caring for not just you, but those around you. I mean, this is going to be, it's going to be a mass effort that's not even just at the theater level, quite frankly, you know, it really has to be, everyone has to work together.
It's like every individual has a part to play, and collectively, this spread will come down, right? Because if we are all responsible, if we all wear masks, I mean, it's not foolproof, but it definitely protects the spread being further and, you know, more direct. Right?
I totally, yes. And like, I mean, look, we're millennials. So like, you know, there's been, at least in the United States, there is unfortunately like a lot of millennials, Gen Z, they're like going out to parties. And I have some sad news for you. So I've had several people pass away from COVID, and 3 of them were our age. So like, it's not just like elderly, but also like, you know, my mom and dad, I don't want anything to happen to them. So I have antibodies, which means I was one of those scary ones that never had any symptoms, but like I have full on antibodies, which means I must have gotten
you got tested for COVID-19.
Yeah,
and you actually have the antibodies.
I have it, but like, again, I had no
symptoms. And you had no
symptoms
at all.
No, but I still made sure that, like, you know, I was washing my hands, wearing my mask, you know, like, because why? Like, respectful for those that I love around me, you know, just because I'm okay, it doesn't mean that my friends or my family will be okay. So it's that mentality. You're right. Every person has their little itty bitty part, but if all of us do the little itty bitty parts, it adds up.
Really,
and
really
sooner
curb the curve of the spread, right?
Yes, totally. And look, yes, does it suck to wear a mask? Totally. Like it's not great.
It's uncomfortable, you know, it might feel restrictive, but it protects our lives and the lives of the people that we love.
Literally. So like, I think, again, like, for everything to reopen, you know, if we can behave now, and really be diligent to do our job and our part, then we can beat this, you know, and we can beat it by the time a vaccine comes. So, but we have to do that. So yeah, no, like, don't wear your mask here, like, wear your mask like properly. And like, I just like, I look around and I'm like, what's happening here, people? So like, it's really going to be a group effort for everyone outside of the theater. And yes, then of course, proper cleaning, I mean, like, again, I think that the measures that Andrew Lloyd Webber took in his theater, you know, they learned from South Korea, which, again, the world tour just got to Daegu. They are planning on continuing. Cats just got to Seoul. They are performing. So like, something is working, people. Like, look what they're doing, you know,
we can do this. We can do this together. We'll fight the pandemic. We'll get over this, and everything will come back again.
Yes. And like, it's not against your rights. Like, in America, some people are like, it's, you know, impinging my rights. No, guys, it's not. Like, you're actually saving lives by sitting at home, watching TV, like, wearing a mask. Like, come on. Like, people, like, it's really, like, you can do this. So anyway, that's my being on my my soapbox.
Thanks for sharing your views, Meghan. Coming to your journey and how you got onto Broadway. So, you know, you worked with big names like Hal Prince, Andrew Lloyd Webber. And let's talk about Andrew Lloyd Webber. So he is a legendary award-winning composer. He received an Oscar, an Emmy, 3 Grammys, 6 Tonys, 7 Olivier Awards, a Golden Globe. He's phenomenal, right? The New York Times described him as I think the most commercially successful composer in history. What does it feel like to be handpicked by him and casted as Christine Daae in The Phantom of the Opera?
Oh, I mean, you know, it truly goes without saying that it's an absolute honor and privilege to have someone so profound that's truly a genius, you know, believe in me and put trust in me to carry the legacy of Phantom.
Sing, my angel of music.
A lot of it also has to do with Hal Prince. You know, he was my beloved mentor, and I met him right at the end of his journey here on this planet. I felt a little robbed, honestly. Like so he was supposed to rehearse me for my Broadway debut, and but Seth is amazing. Seth is our director on Broadway, but I truly was just like, oh, you know, so I mean, it really was like family, you know. I working with Hal, Pat Birch, these like historic gods of Broadway, you know, introducing me then into the world of music theater. And then of course, you know, I remember Hal was like, well, you know, you should sing for Andrew Lloyd Webber. There's this new show that's coming to America. And that's of course how I met Andrew Lloyd Webber, and then premiered Love Never Dies. And like, that's another thing too, to be able, and I remember after I was cast, I had lunch, well, like a coffee tea with him, with Andrew Lloyd Webber, and we talked about Love Never Dies. And I was just so excited more than anything else because he is a genius and he knows what he wants. And, you know, the music, oh my gosh, the music is stunning in Love Never Dies.
I mean, he wrote the music of the night, All I Ask of You. And I'm going to ask of you if you can sing All I Ask of You.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Towards the end, just a little teaser for our viewers.
We'll see. Maybe at the end. I don't know. But no, truly though, like, I mean, being able to speak with him, I remember I was like a schoolgirl. I had like my journal of questions, and I was like, okay, so I see here during Beneath the Moonless Sky that you decided to use this. And it's just, again, because he is such a musical genius and he molds so many different genres, you know, like he's not in one little box. And I think that's something that I feel a kindred spirit to is I don't like to feel like I am this thing, you know. I'm not your typical ingenue soprano that's like, I mean, I have that, but there's also this darkness to me, and like I like rock, and like, you know, there's all these things about me that aren't like exactly that fit, or like the opera singer that, like, you know, does, there's just so many things. So I really felt a kindred spirit in that. And of course, like, deep respect, because I remember when, so in the middle of the Love Never Dies tour, he asked me to represent him at the Classic Brit Awards in London at Royal Albert Hall when he was receiving an award. And that was obviously magical. I mean, making my debut, singing Love Never Dies, representing Andrew Lloyd Webber with literal rose petals falling from the ceiling. It was stunning. Wow. And then also it happened to be his birthday celebration. Magical, truly magical. So it was his birthday celebration, and again, I was chosen to sing. But that was awesome because first of all, I met all the other singers that were singing from everything that he had written, basically. And what was so awesome was, first of all, like, we all connected, right? Because we're all kind of the same person-ish, like personality, kind of quirky, but like, you know, like, here we are. But like, hearing each of the performers do their own thing, which each of the different shows that Andrew has written, you realize, one, obviously, I think he's one of the most incredible storytellers I've ever met and heard in my life. And two, his music is so different. Like, you hear Joseph and you see Cats, and then you hear something from
Evita. I mean, like, Don't Cry for Me, Christina.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing. Like, and everything is just so, it's Andrew, of course, but it's so different.
It's so classic.
It's so classic. So needless to say, being in this Andrew Lloyd Webber family, and Hal Prince, you know, Artie, Mazzella, I mean, Denny, all these people that basically, Kristen Blodgett, I mean, literally all of this incredible team of people introduced me from one side of my profession, opera, into another. And I can't think of another way to have made my Broadway debut, but with these people. And also, like, a lot of my friends were on stage at the Majestic already. It was literally like, oh my God, hi, how are you? So like, it was just so cool to go from building Phantom from the ground up, which also is unique. Not a lot of us have that opportunity for the world tour. And then because it was, you know, it was the new world tour. And so like building that up and then, you know, traveling to all these different beautiful destinations, such as Singapore. I mean, premiering Phantom in Kuala Lumpur and Tel Aviv, that's an incredible feeling too. Like for the first time ever showing this stunning, epic, iconic show. And then having, you know, of course, like leaving the tour, which was also like very sad, but very exciting, but very sad. And then making my Broadway debut. I mean, like it's so perfect, Krystle. Like I couldn't tell you, like, it's just so special because truly Andrew's music, Hal's direction, the entire New York and world tour creative team, like they're just so incredibly special to me. I mean, the conductors, everyone. I'm excited to see like what life has planned for me after my journey with Phantom. Who knows? But like, I know that this was the best way ever.
I'm sure
like
great things will be in store for you. I mean, you are off to a very good start, you know, leading lady. The iconic Christine Daae in the Phantom of the Opera, Broadway debut, world tour, and then you were in Love Never Dies. You know, I'm sure there's much more to come. With Hal Prince, right? So he took you under his wings. He was a mentor to you. He was like a grandfather figure to you. Bless his soul. You know, he's so incredibly talented. What was it like to work with him? How did you get connected with him?
Oh my gosh. Well, so that's a long story. I'll try to, as you can tell, I like to talk. So I'll try to shorten it. But anyway, I was cast in New York City Opera's Michael Capasso, who also is like, I owe this kind of crossover to him as well. He's head of New York City Opera. They cast me as the lead Cunegonde in their revival of Candide, which was a massive success. But what was really cool was it was under Hal's direction. And so you had like the Broadway people, the ballet people, the opera people. And so for the first time ever on like a big, huge professional scale, I was working alongside, I mean, we're talking like Tony Award winning, Tony nominated, you know, I mean, like J. Armstrong Johnson, who's now my like dearest friend ever in the world. You know, Greg Edelman, Linda Lavin, Brooks, Chip. I mean, like all these people, I was learning so quickly, like how they operated. And I was like, this is awesome. And so I remember in the midst of it, Pat and Hal had asked me, hey, would you ever do Broadway? And I was like, gosh, you know, I mean, like obviously Broadway's amazing, but I had my kind of my blinders on for opera. And I was like, well, yeah, though, like, I mean, why not? That sounds seriously awesome. And I mean, look, working for Hal, you have to be quick, right? I mean, you have to be, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but like, you better be super prepared and ready to go. And like, I mean, I remember, and Hal, like even during the performances, he would knock on your door at intermission and be like, okay, so I've got some notes for you. And you'd be like, okay, yes. And like incorporate those in as quickly as possible. So, I mean, working for Hal, it's difficult, you know, it's very challenging, but it's awesomely challenging because
you learn so much. I'm sure you learned so much from him. Yeah.
I got to tell you, like in the short time that I worked with him, I learned more than years like before. It was incredible. And so I think, and because I have that passion and that fire, you know, like I know obviously, like even when he was 90, he had that. And I think that's something that connected us rather immediately. And also my thirst to learn, like even right now, like I know that I am not perfect. None of us are. And I want to learn more. And I like to push myself and try new things. And, you know, I mean, if you would have told me I would be on Broadway 3 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, aren't I supposed to be singing in Paris at the Opera House? So like, you never know. And so, it's amazing. And like, of course, like when you have Hal Prince, you know, in your corner, I mean, people listen. So I know that I owe that to him too, that connection to Andrew and to other people who are in my life, you know, singing with Michael Tilson Thomas and San Francisco Symphony, you know, Pat Birch and Hal Prince. So, you know, again, it's just, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I think you've had a great career so far. And speaking of, you know, learning and the opportunity that you got to learn with, to learn from the legends like Hal Prince and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Do you have any advice for aspiring Broadway actors?
Sure. Okay, it's kind of general and it may sound trite, but it's really true. One is you need the passion. You need that fire to absolutely consume you, you know? I mean, I didn't know from a young age that this is what I wanted to do. And I don't mean Broadway, I mean performing. Some people, they're lucky, they know. I did not. I didn't know. But when I knew, when the bug bit me, that's like I knew I couldn't live without it. And whatever that is for you, it could be Broadway, it could be accounting, it could be CEO, I don't know. Whatever makes you excited like that, that's how you know that's your life's purpose. And I personally believe that when you find that ignites you, it's your job as a human to dive in and live into that as fully as possible, to share it with the rest of humanity, because that passion doesn't come for everyone for everything, right? So if everyone was doing what they love to do, what a world we would be in. Now, that doesn't mean it's without sacrifice. So there's another part of this. Like, one, if you are ignited with passion and fire for this craft, then be prepared that you will sacrifice everything for it. I mean, you know, our lives are blessed and it is a privilege, truly. And you must always remember that. You know, there's very, very few people that make it to Broadway. I know this fact. So don't take it for granted. And I think also COVID, if anyone was, well, now you know what it's like to have it taken away from you. So be very clear, like this is a blessing and a privilege for you, but also it's a sacrifice, you know? I mean, like we travel around the world. It's a very lonely lifestyle, even though on stage you're all together. You will deal with a lot of rejection. That's part of it too. But the silver lining to rejection, even though, look, they all sting. Like, you know, if you want something and you don't get it, it stings. But I have noticed more often than not that usually if you're kind of like, I need this, I want this, and then the universe or whatever you believe in is like, no. But then all of a sudden a window opens that you're like, oh, I was supposed to fly through that window instead of walk through that door. I got you. So that's part of it too. Patience, persistence. This is the other thing. I mean, you know, I got to tell you, like, I was not born into a super wealthy family, okay? I worked hard. I mean, I worked 60 hours a week. I went to grad school. I have student loans to this day. I mean, I literally had holes in my shoe at one point. Like, I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, I know people have had it far worse than me, but because I was not born into privilege like that, I had to work even extra hard because all of my money went to voice lessons, to auditions, to coach. But that's what I'm saying. That's why you have to be obsessed with it, because there was never a doubt in my mind that I wouldn't make it to some point. And in my mind, I'm not done. I've just begun. Do you know what I mean? So you need that like drive.
Yeah, you have a lot of self-confidence and belief in yourself.
True, which doesn't mean that you don't have self-doubt, right? That creeps in, but you still have to remind yourself that that's okay. That's human.
Yes.
But in general, like, yeah, you must believe in yourself, and you need to find a team of people that will challenge you, that will hold you accountable, that will tell you the truth, right? Not just like, oh, you're amazing. Honestly, I need people to be like, that was great, but this needs more work. That's how you get better. That will fight for you, and that will be your cheerleaders, you know? And then the person that heads that is you. You must work harder than ever. And also, lastly, you have to trust your gut, right? If like everybody over here is like, this teacher's the best, and like you didn't connect with that person, that's not for you. Or if everyone's like, you have to go to this school, but you're like, I think I need to just go to Europe. I think you follow that gut feeling, because here's another thing, guys. There is no set one path that gets you to where you need to be. And it's not like I go to medical school and then I become a doctor. No, it's literally like, oh, I went to high school and then I got cast in a Broadway show. Oh, I went to grad school and then I got this. Oh, I'm an opera singer, now I'm a TV show. I mean, like literally like TV show actor. Like there's no rules. So get comfy with the fact that it's just, as long as you work hard, you're passionate, you're a good colleague. Let me add that in there too, guys. The world gets very small as you start approaching the top, right? So be a good colleague. Something Hal drilled into me was, whoever is in that star dressing room, you set the tone for the rest of the cast, right? You are a lead, which means you're like a captain. So, you know, be respectful. like lead by example. I mean, it is very, very important. Be a diva on stage, but leave it at the door off stage. There is no reason. There's too many amazing, nice, talented people. They're not going to want to hire you if you're awful to work with. And believe me, we've all worked with people like that, and you all remember. So don't be fake, but be nice and genuine and be pro. You're not going to get along with everyone. It's just not going to work, right? But that's okay. Just be pro. You know what I mean? So, and lastly, yeah, just keep going. I think that's the thing too. Like, you need to persevere, and the universe is going to challenge you. It's going to be tough sometimes. It's going to be really tough sometimes. But then when you get it, it's the sweetest that you've ever tasted before. Because you're like, I worked so hard. I knew it. So, okay, that was not like short, but...
Like you said, you know, it takes patience, perseverance, a lot of passion, obsession, sacrifice into what you do, right? And just not giving up and believing in yourself. And it's fine to have self-doubts, but, you know, having the confidence at the end of the day to still hold on to your dream, right? So we spoke last year.
You said it so much better. Yeah.
No, you know, we needed your stories and your elaboration, you know, your experience from being on Broadway. So we spoke last year, and I remember you as someone who always gives your all in everything that you do. I love your enthusiasm, your zest for life. But how do you handle situations when you're feeling down or demotivated or have self-doubt?
It happens. Again, like, if I generally don't get stage fright, but occasionally it like weirdly creeps in. It happens, you know, again, like, we are human creatures. And when you're an open vessel as much as possible, you will experience the gambit of everything. And so I think the first thing to do is breathe. Basically, just take a second, take a moment, and try to identify what are you feeling, and then why are you feeling it, what is causing the feeling, and as much as you can objectively deconstruct it, as opposed to emotionally living into the ego side of it. You know what I mean? Like, Lord knows I love to go down a black hole and like listen to sad music and look outside the window and like live into it. I mean, I do that sometimes. Like, you know, like, I feel like we all do, like, throw on Adele and then like, oh, I'm in a music video and like, it happens. It's okay. You know? And like, but the biggest thing too, like, yeah, if for whatever reason, like maybe some stage fright or something kicks in, breathing is huge. Just take, even if it's 5 to 10 deep breaths, feel the ground around you. Also, like, you can do exercises where identify 3 red things. This helps with like anxiety attacks for people, but it can translate into just grounding yourself is what it's called. You can touch something just to come back to reality. And then if you're cast in a show, you have to remember something. All those people that cast you, well, they thought you could do the job. So you also
they believed in you, so you should believe in yourself.
Exactly. And if you, for whatever reason, at that one moment can't believe in yourself, well, believe in them. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing.
They've seen so many people in auditions. You know, if they see something in you, you must have something.
Exactly. And then the other part of that too is like, self-doubt usually can creep in if you don't feel prepared enough. So prepare. You know what I mean? Like, and then you just have to trust that it's there. And this is hard for me because I am a perfectionist, which I think is a good thing, but also can be iffy, is yes, you can always get better. You can. We're human. We are never perfect. But make sure the perfectionist side of you isn't crippling, right? Like, be honest with yourself, but be nice to yourself. You know, I mean, whenever I'm done with a performance, I'll be like, I like this. Ooh, this wasn't so great, but I know I could do that better here, blippity blop, fine. But at the other side of that too, be kind and know that mistakes probably will happen. Like, you will never have a perfect show. Like, even look, the 25th anniversary of Phantom, well, that's not just one recording. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's many things. So that's as perfect as you can get it. Unless you are in a recording studio or you're in a movie or you're on TV where they've done take after take after take, that's like the most perfect it can get. But for live theater or for, Paul, hi! But for live anything, I mean, part of the thrill is that it's not going to be perfect, but which is
like
kind
this
of
IG
awesome.
live session, you know, it's live.
Oh,
so if we say, or if we say or accidentally do something wrong, it's live and we can't retake it.
Yeah, I know. Well,
but it's part of the fun, right? Like being live. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's but I think that's what's missing right now is like, you know, the thrill of that live performance, you know, like, oh my gosh, did that trap door open when it wasn't supposed to? That person said the wrong line. I said the wrong line.
Anything could go wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Anything
could go wrong
and probably
on a
will
live.
at some point. Yeah.
And
like,
it's how you
and
handle it. Yeah.
Totally. But that's, you know, and also like the connection, that electricity, that sixth sense that we have with each other, you know? I mean, that's what makes it so magical. And also, like, I think that's what everyone has to remember is like what live theater brings to the table that nothing else can is indeed, you will never get that performance ever again.
Again.
Like,
yes.
That's it. That was one unique show that will never ever happen again.
What does success mean to you? I mean, there are so many definitions of success, right? To some people, it is being happy, being peaceful, or achieving their dreams, or having ambition, or having a family. But what does success mean to you?
Oh, for me, it's pretty broad. It's achieving greatness to the far extent of whatever that means in whatever you're doing. So for me, I don't know exactly where I'll be in 10 years, but I know whatever it will be, I will be doing 150% and achieving greatness, you know, and sharing. You know, I love sharing the human condition with everyone. So whatever it is I'll be doing, I know that I'll be connecting with people, sharing with people. And I mean, I truly believe that your dreams, they're just realities that haven't manifested yet. And I do think that anything is possible. Will I be a volleyball player? I don't think so. But like, that's okay. Guess what? That's not my dream. And also, sometimes there's a dream you didn't even know you had until you start living it. I mean, and
sometimes we find our passions only later on in life. We stumble across something that we like and we are good at, or we become better at it, and that becomes your passion, right?
Oh yes, look, I think that's the other thing too, guys. I mean, like, look, let's call a spade here. Like, my profession is very ageist, but like, why? I mean, I gotta tell you, like, 20-year-old sorority Kappa Kappa Gamma, that's what I am, Megan, did not know what she was doing. Like, I'm like Mulan. Like, I'm a later blossom that kind of figured out what I needed. But like, thank goodness that I wasn't like, well, society says I need to have 3.5 children right now and I'm married. And no, like, if that's your dream, go for it. You know, and who's to say that I can't do it later? Like, I just think that your timeline is your own. You just need to live it and trust that, you know, it will come to you when you're ready. I would not have been ready for what I'm doing right now, even 5 years ago. So it came when the time was correct. It's just a shame that society, I think, sometimes dictates like, well, too bad you're not a homeowner now. So, well, you know, guess what? I travel around the world and you know what I mean? So like, just trust that your time, if you put the hard work and perseverance in, like, your time will come when it's your time. So
I love what you say, Megan. You know, your time will come. It will manifest. Your dreams will manifest, right? You just have to keep working at it and be patient and persevere. And, you know, it will come.
Totally.
I mean, like what you say,
totally.
It's very inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan, can we have a little teaser from you, a little song?
Oh gosh, guys, I didn't even have coffee this morning. I don't know. How about
any song you pick?
Think of me fondly when we said goodbye. Remember me every so often. Promise me you'll try. On that day, that's not so distant day, when you are far away and free. If you ever find a moment, spare a thought for me. Okay, that's it.
Very nice, Megan. You're such a lovely voice. Yeah, you know, guys, go check out her videos on her page. She's done, you know, she's been in the Phantom of the Opera, so there are clips of her singing. I think all I Ask of You, Music of the Night, and it's amazing. Yeah. To wrap up, Megan, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you. You're so inspiring. And, you know, if I may summarize, your secrets to success in the Broadway industry and in the opera industry is a lot of passion and obsession about your dream, patience, perseverance, never giving up, and believing in yourself. The time will come and your dreams will manifest.
Totally. That's it.
Thank you so much, Megan. Really appreciate your time. And to all our viewers today, thank you so much for all your lovely comments, questions, observations, and for all your support for both Megan and myself. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys.
Guys, bye.
Bye.